Long time ago, there lived a man called James who was married to Annabel. Annabel and James were very much in love that they shared everything together. One day, Annabel's father called James and asked that the both of them visit him, as it has been a while he saw them. James agreed and told his wife that her father wanted to see them. They both decided to go see him on a fortnight. The day finally came and they journeyed to go see the wife's family. When they arrived, James and his father-in-law had great conversation all through the night. The next day, he joined his father-in-law to the farm and they spent a few hours and got home at about 12 p.m. James told his father-in-law that he would be leaving the same day as he has work to do. But James' father-in-law was against it. He told him to stay till the next day. But James had already made up his mind and work was waiting for him. The father-in-law kept begging James to wait for a day or two. But James said no, that he had to leave. Finally, the father-in-law agreed and bid them farewell and asked his daughter to be very careful as they traveled. James and his wife got ready and then they started to go back home. On their way home, when James noticed it was getting late, he told his wife that they should stop by a nearby village so they could rest and continue the next day. His wife agreed. They got to this hotel, but it was no longer functioning. So they decided to ask people around if there were other hotels they could use for the night and then leave the next day. Everyone in the neighborhood showed them a few hotels which they checked, and all these hotels were not functioning. Just then, an old man was walking past. James hurriedly approached the man and explained what was happening to them. James said, "Good evening, sir. I and my wife are strangers from another village, but we are looking for a place to spend the night before we head back to our home." The old man told them, "Oh, I'm sorry, my child, but hotels no longer function here as a lot of people could not afford it." James was surprised. James shook his head and begged the old man and said, "Please, sir, if you don't mind, could you please let myself and my wife spend the nights at your place? We promise to leave first thing in the morning without giving you any form of trouble." The old man agreed. After they had begged him for a while, the old man took James and his wife to his house. On getting to the old man's house, the old man was very nice to them. He bought them food and gave them water to bath with. Just while they were trying to settle in, suddenly a loud sound came from the door. People were knocking the door seriously. It was a group of men trying to get their attention. Someone from the gang started shouting, "Bring out that man in your house! Bring out that man in your house!" The old man said, "I can't bring the man out of my house. Why would I bring the man out of my house? You people should go and come back tomorrow. When you come tomorrow, I will give him to you." But the mobs refused and said if he didn't bring the man out, they wouldn't leave his door. They continued banging the door and they made a lot of noise. The old man said, "I have a daughter and I also have a lady here called Annabel. I could release the both of them to you to do whatever you want with them, but I can't release this man." The mob said they do not want any of the ladies, that they should release the man to them. The old man begged them, begged them, but they refused. While the old man was still begging, James opened the door and pushed his wife out immediately and locked the door. The mobs took turns on Annabelle. When it was morning, they all left her and ran away. Annabelle laid at the door and cried. She cried till she heard the door open. When the door opened, it was her husband, James. Annabelle looked at her husband but couldn't say a word. James didn't even say anything to her. Annabelle went in, took a shower, and they continued their journey. James couldn't even try to console her. She cried all the way till they got home. James didn't make a sound or tell her anything. Finally, they got home. James went inside, brought out a drink and gave to Annabelle, telling her that she should take this drink, that she would be okay, and it will help her calm down. Not knowing that her husband had other plans for her, Annabelle drank the drink and slept off. James went inside and brought her a sharp knife and cut her body limb by limb, and he disposed her. Tell me what you learned from today's story. Was it right for James to push his wife out of the house for the mobs to devour her? Or do you think that if James had listened to his father-in-law, that it would have been a different situation? Tell us what you learned from today's story. And would you listen to your father if you were Annabelle, or you would listen to your husband instead? Thank you.